But for the next game, going for the Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Lions at Bears. And just a fun fact, this game is the longest running annual series in the NFL, as both teams they've met at least once since 1930. But a lot of people say, like, what about the Packers and the Bears? That's the oldest rivalry. But in 1982, there was a strike, and the Packers, they just weren't able to get anything going. The Packers and the Bears, they didn't play in the 1982 season. But both teams, they had all-time disappointing weeks. The Bears, they had an all-time bad offensive game, and the Lions, they lost to a 66-yard field goal, which is totally losing in Lions fashion. But this is another game I would stay away from. The Bears, they had a really tough game last game, and the Bears had the second least amount of completions by a quarterback behind the New Orleans Saints, who've completed only 39 passes but have 7 touchdown passes with Jameis Winston. And the Bears, they only have 1 touchdown pass. They have the lowest yards per attempt, but the Lions, they're 8th in passing yards given up. But I wouldn't worry about that if I was the Lions. The bright side about this is that the Bears, they're in 3rd in the league in sacks. So they're going to be pressuring Jared Goff. They're going to be, trying to stop the running game. That's what they need to do with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams getting 25 carries a game. But one thing I've noticed about watching the Bears over the past 20 years is that they can't score points. And this week, they're facing the Lions without Matthew Stafford. This point spread in this game, it's 42. It's 42.5, excuse me. On the graphic, it's actually wrong. But the reason why I'd stay away from this game is just because both teams are really bad and they have something to prove. Right now, it's almost certain who the Bears. Right now, it's uncertain who the Bears will have as their starting quarterback. Not like it matters anyways, but the Lions, they're limited as long as they have Goff at their quarterback. And there's one thing for certain, that the Bears pressure quarterbacks, and Jared Goff throws to his tight ends and running backs. He does dump-off passes. He's not a great quarterback. He's serviceable, but he's not the greatest. And Goff doesn't do well under pressure since both teams are dumpster fire this year, with 1 win between them both, thanks for the Bears committing 3 turnovers on 3 consecutive passes by Joe Burrow in week 2. They would both be 0-3. But if the Bears, if they didn't turn one of those interceptions into a pick 6 touchdown by Roquan Smith, then they'd be 0-3 too. The Bears theoretically probably should be 0-3. And I wouldn't trust betting on bad teams because both these teams are bad, but Matt Nagy cannot lose this game, especially when they're at home facing a division rival that's 0-3. And I also wouldn't be surprised if this game ended in a tie. That's how much I'm saying about this game. But if I had to choose this game, I would pick the Bears straight up in the under, because I am not picking any favorites or any lines this game. Maybe I would pick the Lions +3. But any game that the Bears play in, picking the under is always a good move. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a tie. I wouldn't be surprised at any of that stuff. But I'm staying away from this game because I'm not picking a game with 2 shitty teams because I lack so much confidence with it. But that's really it for the Bears. The Bears, they're the Bears. The Lions are the Lions.